Welcome to Sip Sip Hooray, a podcast for thirsty people who want to know more about wine and the interesting stories behind the label. We have a fun one for you today, all about one family's rich winemaking history. We are the two Marys who like to eat, drink, and be merry. I'm Mary Babbitt.
And I'm Mary Orland, and we have something a little different for you all today. First of all, Mary Babbitt and I are super excited that we are going to be taking part in the upcoming Santa Clara Valley wine auction. Santa Clara Valley is a wine region near and dear to our hearts. I actually lived in the Appalachian in the San Jose area, but I have been covering the wineries for many, many years. It's a very historical region. In fact, it's one of the most important winemaking regions in California and has added to California and America's wine story for more than 150 or so years.
Yeah, we're proud of that. And I still live in the Appalachian, and I'm proud to be here. And we are super excited to be involved with the Santa Clara Valley Wine Auction. It's coming up March 25th, Saturday, March 25th. And we want you all of our listeners to know you can get tickets to this fun event. It's going to be held at Guglielmo Winery.
That's right. And that is the oldest continuously operated family winery in the Santa Clara Valley. It has a fascinating history that you are going to really enjoy learning about. And Gene Guglielmo, third generation of the family, is going to tell us all about. But so Mary and I are going to be hosting a VIP sommelier experience. There's two ways you can participate being at the auction. There's the VIP tickets that allow you to get in an hour early at 5 p.m. Come meet us, come drink the beautiful Santa Clara Valley wines with us, and we'll, answer all your questions about the wines and tell you the stories behind the label. And then general admission for the event, for the auction, and for all the fun starts at 6 o'clock, and the evening goes through 9 p.m. And we will post all of that information and where you can get your tickets on our website, sipsiphooray.podcast.com. But to find out a little bit more and to entice you to join us and everybody at Guglielmo on March 25th, we've got Bob Lipscomb with us right now. He is the president of the Morgan Hill Community Foundation. So Bob, welcome to Sip Sip Hooray. We're excited to have you here.
Yes, thank you, Bob, for joining us.
Oh, thank you both, Mary and Mary. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're really excited about the upcoming event. So thanks a million for inviting me.
Will you tell our listeners what they're going to get at this event and why they shouldn't miss it?
Yes, what they're going to get is some amazing wines from the Santa Clara Valley wine region. They're going to get tastes of wonderfully put together foods by local restaurants from the Morgan Hill area. And in addition, an auction of items that will benefit local nonprofits and charities. And the auctions will be both silent auction, so there'll be things to look at and put silent bids on. And then there will be a live auction at the end of the event with other items to have some fun and excitement toward the end of the event. All in all the proceeds that are raised from the event will be used either to fund nonprofit projects or programs in the greater Morgan Hill area. And a number of nonprofits will be participating at the event by providing silent auction items. And in addition, the monies raised by the Morgan Hill Community Foundation that, above and beyond our costs for the event, will be granted back to nonprofits in the local area using our annual grants process. So this is really a win-win. It's a great event, and ultimately the benefits and proceeds from it will go back into the community and support nonprofit efforts to help people locally.
Can you give us an example of some of those types of nonprofits?
Yes, I can. Nonprofits such as Martha's Kitchen, and Martha's Kitchen will be donating an experience that they are going to be having later. But Martha's Kitchen provides food throughout the area, not only in Morgan Hill, but throughout numerous areas.
They're tremendous all through San Jose. My son volunteers there, and they're wonderful. Day in and day out, they're providing meals for people. It's incredible.
Yes, they are. So Martha's Kitchen will be participating, and our grants process right now, we don't know specifically who the monies will go to, because our process is that nonprofits apply for grants, and then we use a community advisory team to review all the grant requests. And then ultimately we grant back to nonprofits based on the review of the advisory team and recommendations. So ultimately it will impact and benefit many nonprofits across the region.
Great. And you're partnering with Guglielmo Winery. Gene, can you set the scene for us and what people who are going to be coming to the event will see and experience at your winery?
Well, we're totally excited about hosting it here. Our family is very excited, and I think once they arrive, they will get a feel for the fact that they are at a family winery. They are at a historical winery, and the setting is just perfect for this kind of venue. We have a large event area that's surrounded by vineyard, so you'll get a chance to look out over the vineyards and enjoy the great food supplied by local restaurants, and of course the great wine supplied by our association, as well as other wineries that are associate members. We've expanded the footprint of this auction and event to cover the whole Santa Clara Valley appellation, which is very dear to our hearts. So, I'll get you more history on that later on in the broadcast, but we're excited, and I think it's going to be a great event, and we're working with a great foundation in the Morgan Hill Community Foundation, and a lot of great charities will benefit from it. So, like Bob said, it is a win-win situation for all.
I love it. I'm excited to do it. And I think people, it's kind of fun. If you have any interesting auction lots, you may not have them all sewn up yet, so don't worry if you don't. But if Bob, if there's anything enticing you have that you know for sure is going to be in the auction, could you tell us?
Well, I know that, and it's still coming in. We're a month away, but right now I know that there's some pretty cool stuff. Not only ranging from the silent auction items, we have a lot of gift basket items from local spas and experience-related businesses. Of course, many winery-related auction items. I do know that there are some larger items, jewelry that has been donated, sports memorabilia that has been donated, wine experiences. So yeah, it's shaping up to be really, really fun. For people that attend, they're not only going to have a great experience with the food, the wine, also interacting with people that are there from both the nonprofit organizations as well as business, as well as just individuals to enjoy themselves, and ultimately the auction experience, which we're hoping will be a blast.
Well, I think it's a great way for people who have not experienced the Santa Clara Valley wineries to come learn about them and experience them, but also to get to know the region and to get to know Morgan Hill, where Guglielmo is. And can you just tell us, Bob, what makes Morgan Hill special?
Oh, Morgan Hill is a gem. My family and I, we moved our family 9 times before we arrived at Morgan Hill and decided that we were going to stay. And that was 29 years ago. This is just the not only the community. When I talk about the Morgan Hill Community Foundation, it's a nonprofit organization that has been in place here for 20 years. And actually, Gene Guglielmo was one of the original founders of this organization. Create a nonprofit that would support the community, that would help the people here locally with needs, and to connect people who want to donate with people who need the funds to support people. So, I'm sorry, but anyway, Morgan Hill is it's awesome. I mean, when you get here, you'll see, I mean, the foothills, the valley that we're in, the proximity to the coast, the multiple sports venues that are here. It's just awesome.
It's a pretty special place. It has a very small town, homey community vibe. You're in the shadow of the Silicon Valley, but you are set apart from it, and you maintain, because of that, just this surrounded by nature and surrounded by seemingly really good people.
And our downtown, I can't speak highly enough about our downtown area. It is it's such a neat place to go and have dinner and just to walk through the town. It's really a very nice downtown. So Morgan Hill is our town. We love it. That's why I volunteer on this board. The board that I'm on is entirely volunteers. We give our time and our expertise in support of the community, and it's easy to do because we love this place.
Nice. Well, tell folks how they can get tickets to the auction. And again, it's Saturday, March 25th.
Yeah, what I would do is refer them to the Morgan Hill Community Foundation website at morganhillcf.org. And there, go to the events section, and under events, you'll see the wine auction event, and click on it, and you can move forward to tickets.
Great. Well, Bob, Mary Babbitt, and I are so honored to be taking part in this and helping get the word out about the auction, about Santa Clara Valley and the wines here. We've always been big fans, and we're so excited to get to share this with our listeners. And we really encourage you, especially if you haven't been to the region, come on down, come taste with me and Mary, come have a laugh with us, a few sips with us, and come and be generous too, because it's all for a good cause.
Absolutely. We'd love to meet you. And I'm kind of excited that we get to be at the VIP area there.
I know. It's like, oh, wow. We have to be fancy.
But our guests will be the real VIPs. So we can't wait to meet you. And we hope you get tickets to the Santa Clara Valley Wine Auction.
Can I just chime in for a
sec? Yes.
I just want to let Bob know, as well as your audience, that as far as a wine auction item, we are donating a large format bottle, a 6-liter. It's a 2003 Santa Clara Valley, of course, Cabernet.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Wow.
It's a special silkscreen bottle that we put together for the centennial of Morgan Hill, which took place in 2006.
Okay.
So it's a limited edition. We only did 100 bottles.
Ooh.
And I've got one of them here right next to me, and that's what we're going to donate. So.
Oh, terrific. I love that. How perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gene.
Yeah. So again, just pointing to the history of Santa Clara Valley, and, we often get overshadowed by our neighbors to the north, but winemaking really started in Santa Clara Valley before those other regions. And we have some names like Paul Masson started in Santa Clara Valley. So there's some really great history here. And of course, with the Guglielmos, which we'll really get into with Gene here in just a few minutes. So, but Bob, we thank you so much for taking time. We know you're super busy, and you've got this auction to help produce, and we can't wait. And just thanks for joining us.
I want to thank the two of you, not only for hosting this podcast, but also for participating in our event and helping us to create the VIP experience, which we're thinking is just going to be really awesome. Having you there, as well as Gene is probably going to talk about it later, but he's going to conduct a little private tour of the barrel room, and so we're seeing the VIP experience as being something really special for guests, and we want to thank you for your help with that. I also want to add that that you asked how to get a hold of us, and I recommended our site, and that's one way. But there's also another way, and that is to go to www.santaclaravalleywineauction.org, and that's another entry point for tickets as well.
Terrific. And we will make sure we link all of this on our website so people who aren't scribbling or don't have a pen in hand while listening will be able to find it.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you on March 25th at the auction. Look forward to it.
Can't wait.
We are too. Thanks again, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Okay,
Bye.
Thanks, Bob.
Cheers.
Bye, Gene.
Bye-bye.
All right, Gene, it's your turn.
Spotlight's on you now.
Am I in
Seat.
trouble?
No, not at all. Not at all. So we've mentioned it briefly, but you are part of a very historic family and winery in Santa Clara Valley. Can you kind of set the scene for us? And it really, you owe the family history, the winery's history, to your grandfather, Emilio. So please tell us about that.
Well, I think it's kind of a traditional story of immigrants who came here to contribute, to work hard, and to get ahead. He migrated from northern Italy and Piemonte region, from a little area up in the base of the Alps, and basically landed in New York. His goal was to end up in San Francisco, but he didn't have any money when he landed. All he had was ambition and willingness to work. So he worked his way across the United States and eventually did settle in San Francisco. So that's where his history here in California, where he started to put down roots, was in San Francisco.
And where in Italy did he come from? Where was his family?
It's probably about 45 kilometers west of Torino, or Turin, little Val di Susa. It's right at the beautiful location, and obviously there's vineyards close and all around that area, make some fantastic wines.
So that's northern Italy, up by the Alps then? Is that
northwest of Italy. So real close to the French border. So my grandparents spoke French as well as the Piemontese dialect. And so actually, when his very first label that he used when he got into the wine business was Emil's. That's one of our 3 labels that we produce wine under. And that's, his name was Emilio, and my grandmother was Emilia. But he used the French version of his name because I think he had more French customers, and probably a little more fashionable to be French in those days than Italian. How that goes. Everybody had to take their turn in the barrel. So,
right.
But that's how he started, and then eventually he sent for my grandmother, because he came over by himself. He sent for my grandmother from that little village, and she came over and settled with him in San Francisco. She worked side by side with, as he worked, and saved money and did what they could, and got married in San Francisco in 1910. It's an interesting story.
It is. Well, and am I correct in understanding that they decided to launch the winery at the height of the Depression?
Well, I think it's more Prohibition.
I'm sorry. Yes. Prohibition, of course. Thank you.
That was one of the things that prompted him to get into the wine business, because, we were raised, and he was raised, that wine was a food. Wine was to be accompanied with, with food. It wasn't a beverage of intoxication, it was a food. So obviously there was a giant demand for wine, especially in the European culture, and so he was able to supply that wine. So I tell everybody he was very religious and had a big family. So he made wine for his family, which was legal, and for the church.
Right.
That was the start.
So how did he decide to go to to Morgan Hill and the Santa Clara Valley?
Well, you got to realize Santa Clara Valley has such a ideal soil and weather to grow almost anything, but especially world-class wine, grapes. So this was the Valley of Heart's Delight. And I think that's what got him to come down this direction and buy the original ranch, which is the house that I'm sitting in right now. And I was raised in, but I call it our international headquarters now. So. But, and it had 15 acres of vineyard, a small barn, and a tank house. That's all that was here. So
Okay.
he curiously, I'm sitting above the original basement underneath, which had no entrance or exits from the outside. There's a trap door that's in the bedroom. So the original owner was making wine under his bed.
Ooh.
During Prohibition.
Okay. The feds aren't going to find that.
No.
Yeah, then in 33, my grandfather dug out the full basement under the full house and rolled down casks and small tanks, put small tanks up. So they're still down there. That was in 33.
Oh,
So,
that's great. They're still there.
yep, they're still
yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I know that, it's not open to the public, but I was fortunate enough years ago to get a private tour with a small group in that cellar, and you feel the history there. It's just, and you have these big old redwood tanks that are so historic.
That was his first storage area on site here, and then through time he expanded the vineyards and built more buildings. My father came into the business after World War II. So my grandparents lived in San Francisco up till the end of World War II, because they came down here. They had people take care of their vineyard. They came down here, spent summers, and made wine down here. But all the sales were up there. There was population of Morgan Hill, and even San Jose. It's not like it is today. So his customers were up north. So he would carry the wine up north and sell it to the different restaurants, delis, and families.
So by that point, was he bottling it? Because I think I read that originally the wine just went into jugs.
Well, originally it was barrels. He used to deliver barrels to to bars and restaurants and liquor stores, and you brought your own jug, turned the spigot and filled your jug up. So we like to say we've gone from barrels all the way through to bottles. So
the winery, so your grandfather Emilio bought the ranch in 1925. So we are in the middle of the Prohibition era. Do you know if he was aware of the folks like really the Santa Clara Valley wine history started with the missionaries planting at the Mission Santa Clara? I believe it was in 1798. But was he aware of that history? And also in 1852, Charles Lefranc, a Frenchman, opened the new Almaden winery in Santa Clara Valley, which really was the first commercial winery operation in California.
That's right.
And that's where in the 1870s, Paul Masson came over from Burgundy and started working with Charles at New Almaden, and eventually went on to open Paul Masson champagne cellars and all that business. But so do you know if he have any sense if he was aware of all that?
I'm sure he was, and you got to realize that it was a small industry. Even when I started, it was a small industry. My older brother George went to Fresno State to study viticulture and enology. I went to University of Santa Clara, and my younger brother Gary went to UN Reno. And when we graduated, George and I first came into the business, it was less than 200 wineries in California.
Oh, wow.
So you pretty much knew everybody and knew, it was a different industry then. but it's all about the people. You know, it's a people industry, and blessed to have great people in the industry, and we try to work together to make things better.
And do you remember your grandfather, your grandparents?
I was fortunate enough, yes, to be able to be around them, because at one point we all lived in this house. My older brother and myself lived here with my grandparents and my parents. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember one story y'all told me was that you'd have family dinners, it's when you and your brothers were young, but dinner was often interrupted by customers coming and knocking on the door, and your grandmother would get up and answer the door and sell them wine while y'all had dinner.
well, sometimes it came in and joined us for dinner.
Oh, really? Ah.
But no, that's the way it was.
Oh,
A lot to be grateful for as far as when I look back. We didn't know how good we had it.
mm.
Even though everybody had to work, but that was just part of how you got fed. This was this how we put bread on the table. The industry's changed where a lot of people, it's more of a write-off or an ego building thing to have a winery, whereas puts bread on the table for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you ever consider another path, or was it always going to be wine for you?
Well, that's an interesting question. When you're young, you want to do your own thing. You don't want to take over a family business because it looks like that's the easy way to go. But after graduating, I took a trip to Europe and to Italy, and went to the small village that my grandfather was born in, and met at that time, had two sisters still alive. So I got to meet them and their offspring. So it really gave me a sense, and I'm looking around, this was in the early 70s when I went. So they didn't have any of the luxuries or any of the things that we all take for granted here. And I just started thinking, wow, what he accomplished, what he left and took the risk to make a better life for all of us. It just seemed a shame not to get involved and keep the tradition going. So that was a turning point for me anyway.
Yeah. So you have two brothers, as you mentioned, George, who's the winemaker, and Gary, who was involved for a while on the business side. So that's third generation. So what about a fourth generation?
I've got my daughter working right now. My brother's daughter handles all our social media. Christina. So she's doing a great job in that arena, because that's all new territory for us old timers, but it's effective.
That's great. Well, one thing I wanted to say, so what was it like growing up, your family's in the wine business? Did they put you to work? What did you, what, if anything, were you doing when you were growing up in the winery?
Well, I think work just comes with the territory, especially when you're raised on a farm. So as kids, we were in the winery helping her out in the vineyard. If there was nothing to do, my dad would have us go out and pick up rocks. So
just go collect rocks out of the vineyard?
Yeah, just pick up boulders, get them, collect them. So that, that was, we were always involved in helping out my dad and my grandfather. More so my dad, because my grandfather is pretty much retired. But my younger brother, Gary, unfortunately passed away about 2.5 years ago. So we really are still suffering from that. But he was a great contributor to keeping the tradition of the family going.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Big loss. I'm sorry too.
Yes. Yeah. Your younger brother is 7 years younger than me.
That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
No, well, life's not fair sometimes. So just got to keep the faith, and that helps.
Yeah. Sure. And obviously family is so important to you guys. I want to talk about the kind of wines, the varietals you guys make. There's some really fun ones here. You sent us some wine. We received, am I going to say this? I hope I say this correctly. A Sagrantino.
Sagratino, yes, that's an Italian
Sagratino.
variety, comes from
Yes.
Central Italy.
Oh,
And
love
we-
that. A Petit Syrah and
Guignolino Rosé.
that's it. I got the rosé part, but the first part was going to trip me up. So thank you, Mary. I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this rosé, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the rosé is made from the Granulino grape, 100% from the Granulino grape, and that's a grape that originates from the part of Italy that we're from, and it's actually the first varietal that we ever made. My dad made a rosé out of it.
Oh, wow.
And, it was Granulino rosé, and at that time he made it with a little sweetness, but my brother George, we toned it down, so it's a dry rosé that goes well by itself or with foods or in the hot tub or at the picnic table. So
yeah, it's a wine for all occasions.
Yes, it is. Yes, and it has a very unique color. It's got a little floral aspect to it. It's crisp and it's very popular. It's very limited. We only make maybe 200-300 cases of it a year.
I know. It's always been one of my favorite of the wines you all make, and I've always been bummed when it's like, oh, it's gone. Like, oh, I didn't get enough. Darn! You have to wait a whole year.
Yeah, and we also make it into a red. So
yes,
the red Granulino, which is obviously a little heavier, but it's still on the light side for a red.
It's really nice, and it's got a little bit of a tropical note that I like, and it's got good acid. It's great.
I'm glad you're enjoying it for sure. But it's not widely grown in California, so
no,
it's one of our flagships. That's why I sent it off to you, that as well as a Petit Syrah. The Sagratino we actually planted. It's on site, so it's estate bottled.
Okay.
George planted some of that about 7 or 8 years ago, so it's fairly new to us.
Well, so for folks who don't know Sagratino, tell us about the wine.
That wine is has some nice tannins to it. It's fairly medium body, but it's got a little plum, a little blackberry, little cherry, and goes well with pasta. Try to expose people to try different types of wines, different varietals to just expand their palate. And
well, I think this, the Grinolino, the Sagratino, and even the Petit Syrah, and then you do Zinfandel, Cabernet Sauvignon, sparkling. I think this, Gene, to me, this speaks to the versatility of what you can grow in the Santa Clara Valley. You're not really you're not known for just one main variety. I think there's diversity and maybe, something for everybody to enjoy.
Definitely. Well, we're blessed with, like I say, the soil and the weather necessary in the Valley of Heart's Delight. But some of these varieties we actually procure from out of the Santa Clara Valley, just because of the availability of certain varieties that aren't planted here. So we have a wide variety. I mean, it's kind of like one-stop shopping. We bottle wines under 3 different labels. The Emil's, I told you, was my grandfather's original one, and that's when we primarily did blended wines, bug wines, which was when people had wine, consumer, those consumers were drinking wine, for lunch and dinner and maybe breakfast. So, made in a real clean, natural style that we've maintained, and just real food friendly and very reasonably priced. So we still maintain that Emil's label. We use it for our champagnes, and we do a blended red and a white that so very inexpensive for the quality of the wine that they are. So
I love that. That's a nice offering, and I always appreciate people looking out for other people's wallets. So good for you.
Well, I always say good wine doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what you got. You can't judge a wine by the price.
Sip hooray to that. That's one message we always want to get across to our listeners, even my friends and family, when I'm talking about wine. You don't have to spend a lot to get something really good. It's just you know, you want integrity in the winemaking
Mhm.
and authenticity, and you know,
Well, and the other
authenticity.
thing we strive for is consistency.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's you got to be able to depend on a winery to give you a good bottle every time. We're not trying to sell you one bottle and then the
Yeah.
next one you buy is going to be different. No, it's very
Right.
important.
Right. Okay. Well,
That
speaking of that,
consistency.
you guys are on your, what is it, 98th year since the
At my
founding?
age, I can't keep track.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's, I think you're almost 100. The winery is almost
Yep.
100 years old. I'm
Yeah.
curious how things have changed and what kind of challenges you guys, the current generation of Guglielmos, face, and maybe your or challenges and or successes.
Well, we've been through so many phases, ups and downs in the wine industry. So we've not only has the industry changed, the consumers changed, you know, and so we've had to adapt and make the wines that the consumer wants, not just the ones that we want to make. So, but they're all good wines. So there are many challenges. You've got a different generation of consumers. So it's education. It's just talking about the benefits and the positive thing that wine can contribute to society and in a responsible way. And challenges. I mean, a winemaker's got to be a farmer first. So you've got your, climate issues. You've got to worry about getting that crop in and picking it at the right time. And so that's one issue that everyone is facing. And the consumer is like I say, has changed over the years, and we have changed with them. We're primarily making good everyday table wines, and then with my brother coming into the industry, we could see that the future was in varietals. So that's where we switched over to varietals. Our Petit Syrah was one of the first ones that we bottled as a varietal. That was in 1969, our state Petit Syrah. So that kind of got us into that direction. And then the early 70s, when, late 60s, when Americans and especially Californians were discovering wine, they didn't start out with red wine. So here we were, a winery producing 95% red wine, and the demand was for white wine. So my father had the foresight, and we shifted gears, put in a lot of new stainless steel tanks so that we could accommodate white wine as well as the red, and to meet what the customer wanted. So now we're making more white wines, but we still sell more red. With a name like Guglielmo, you can understand that. But,
Of course.
so, adapting to what the consumer wants and styles, and upgrading our equipment over the generations. We've always reinvested in ourselves and tried to make the best wine possible, and with new technologies. So I always say that we're kind of a blend of, George, our winemaker, grew up on the rancher like my brothers and I did, and we learned the old style, Italian common sense way to do stuff. And with George going on to college, and we feel it's a nice blend of new technology and the old common sense way. So it's a nice blend. So we're kind of like Italian California
Love that.
winemakers.
Love it.
So, but we never forget our roots. We never forget, the customer is the most important thing that we have. We look at our customers as friends, not just customers, because George and I and my brother Gary, we used to go on home deliveries. My father and people would order wine. They'd either call or write us a letter. This is kind of when the jug wines, our minimum order was 5 cases of gallons. So that's 20 gallons of wine that we were delivering, and we would bring it right to their home. So pick up the empties. We were recycling before it was fashionable, and give them their full ones. And you got to meet them. they were, they were friends. So we've kept that feeling alive, and I think it's very important. So when people come here, they get that sense that they're not just visiting a winery, they're visiting a family coming to their house.
One thing about the home deliveries, I remember talking to you and your brothers about this on the occasion of your 90th anniversary back in 2013 and or 2015, I'm sorry, 2015. And one of the stories was that when you did the home deliveries, if people were not home, they would leave the door open. You'd just go in, you'd put the wine in their storage facility, take the empties, and there would be a check waiting for you, or even cash waiting for you on the kitchen table, and you just take that, and everything was. There was a lot of trust back in those days. That's just how things were done, which amazing.
Yeah, the world's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, some would leave a key, tell us where the key is, and we open the garage or open where we had to, put the wine in, get the empties. So
that is so fun. I love that. And I just love your roots in Morgan Hill. Tell me, Gene, why you care so much about this community and what the community of Morgan Hill has meant to you over the years.
Well, Bob kind of gave you a little summary of the beauty that's around us. And from an agricultural standpoint, it's a great place. But, what's really special is the people of Morgan Hill. That's the connection we have, because we were born and raised here. We still have, friends that we went to school with, and families that have been here for a long time. So that's just another special aspect of Morgan Hill. Morgan Hill is a special place, and Santa Clara Valley is as well. So
I believe there's about 30 wineries now in Santa Clara Valley.
Well, in the actual appellation, there's much more than that.
Oh, okay.
Our Wineries of Santa Clara Valley Association has about a little over 30 members, but there's more wineries in the actual appellation.
Oh, that's cool.
Than the 30. So
awesome. And I know some have there's some others that have history. Not
well, you've got many that are. I think Kerrigan's 100.
Yes.
From the original owners. So
the Mirasu family got their start.
Yep. There's, like I say, a lot of bottles came out of Santa Clara Valley.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. So you all do have in a couple of years a centennial coming up. Have you all started to think about how you're going to celebrate?
Well, we've been thinking. I can't spill the beans on that.
Oh, okay.
We'll try and do something special. And who knows, it might be more than just one event.
Well, I hope so.
A series of events.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how to make it till that time.
Oh, you just keep dancing like you were this weekend. I think you'll be just fine.
Dancing and drinking good wine.
Yeah, drinking good wine. So
absolutely,
yeah. So you also sent a bottle of your Petite Syrah. Can you tell us about that?
Well, that's always been one of we've continuously win awards on that one. We just got a gold at the Examiner competition. So
great.
But that's one of the in the old days, we used to just blend the Petite Syrah with the Carignan and Zinfandel and just make a quality blend. So George pulling it separate. This wine is a real full, chewy type of wine. It's got some pepperiness to it, a little bit of oak, and just a good full-bodied red that goes well with steak, something a little heavier on the food side. But
yeah, this is it's nice, a dark, rich color, and it I think it would stand up well to a good meal, right? It's a food wine that it's lovely on its own, but pair this with food and it's magic.
Oh yeah, good barbecue steak or something, yes, for sure. But I always tell people, don't wear a white shirt when you drink it, because it's pretty.
I almost did a spit take. That made me laugh, Gene. I was taking a sip of it and you made me laugh.
Don't spill.
Are you wearing white?
No, pink.
But
Almost a spit take. It didn't happen.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so
it's delicious.
we've used the Petit Syrah. We probably are going to do some special bottlings for our centennial celebration, but obviously Petit Syrah will be in that blend. And we used to do a claret, which we haven't done in a while, but we'll probably bring that one back, which was Zinfandel and Petit Syrah, because Zinfandel grows real well in this region. It's one of my favorites. It's got that real berry component and full body, and does real well as on its own or blended. So we'll come up with some special stuff for the.
Well, you have to keep us posted.
We shall.
So for people who aren't familiar with the area, Morgan Hill is located south of San Jose, north of Monterey. And when people come to visit you, Gene, tell us again about the experience. Are they in a tasting room? Are they sitting outside? What is the tasting experience there?
Well, it's changed a little bit with COVID, but we're getting back to normal. We have an event center that we've put in, where the auction will be held, but that's one of the phases of our business morphing into an experience location. So you can come and come to an event, or you can come to our Piazza de Maddalena after my mother. We've got a fountain and a big courtyard where we set up tables so you can sit outside, weather permitting, with umbrellas. So people love just sitting out there. We sell little food items in the tasting room that you can grab and sit up there and have your own little picnic, and you can look out over the vineyard, just enjoy the whole atmosphere. And then our tasting room is located in the original barn that was here when my grandfather bought it. So we have a tasting bar in there, and some full selection of wines under the 3 labels that we bottle. I mentioned the meals. Our mid-range label is called Trey. That name came about from the 3 of us. That's 3 in Italian.
Yeah.
So that's Trey is 3 in Italian. So that really represents just good sound varietal wines at a very reasonable price. In the $17 range, $16 range for Cab, Chard, Merlot. And then we also do a white Zin in that label. And then the Guglielmo name is what we use for our private reserve label. And those primarily represent our Santa Clara Valley appellation wines, our estate bottle wines, and then some of the other varietals that we buy out of the area. So those are kind of our proudest. We're proud of all our wines, but that represents our best efforts.
Well, I always feel like visiting Guglielmo is like you're stepping into old world Italy, because you enter through the courtyard, which is just a beautiful stone courtyard with that stone fountain, and you just really feel like you've left California and you've gone into a part of Italy, and it's just so beautiful and relaxing.
Well, I'd love to hear that, because that's what we try to project, because that's who we are. So a lot of people, because I usually go around and chat with them, and they say they feel so comfortable and they feel the European experience, or more so Italian. But we love to hear that, because that's, I think, one of the best byproducts of being in the wine business is being able to visit with your customers and sharing what we take pride in producing.
Yeah, making it a personal experience. That's so cool.
Yeah. So, it's easy to say you're a family winery, but we're more than a family winery. We actually run it, do it. So that's important. But then we also have a gift shop.
I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, because behind the tasting area, we have a gift shop that was an old storage barn that was added on. But so we've got a collection. Our Kim Marie, our gift expert, she buys some fantastic items, that kind of unique items, and does a great job. So you can go back in the back and buy either some customized clothing with Guglielmo on it, if you know how to pronounce Guglielmo, will help. And then some very nice, gift items as well. And then we have what we call our heritage room, which you guys will be in for the VIP experience. And you're surrounded by old photos and some current photos of the family, and has a nice feel to it.
Yeah, I love the black and white photos. It's really fun to see those. But y'all, I'm telling you, this gift shop is not just a gift shop. I mean, it's amazing. It's probably the best winery gift shop ever. I mean, because you really do. I've bought so many cool things from there, and so you definitely have to check it out.
Well, that's high praise, because Mary Orland knows her way around shopping. So
is my
I'm not
wife.
kidding.
Yeah, my wife does too. She's our best customer back there.
Well, Gene, this has been such a pleasure talking to you. I cannot wait till March 25th when we get to be with you in person.
Mhm.
And we want to encourage all of our listeners
Yeah.
to seek out tickets to the Santa Clara Valley Wine Auction. Meet Gene, meet Mary Orland, and me, Mary Babbitt. And we're going to have a great night. And we hope you join us for it. Gene, your family story is just so dear. And the integrity, the humility, and the joy that you guys bring to what you're doing is just really lovely.
Well, we hope it shows. But we're also showcasing all the wineries of the region. So
yes, and that's important.
Why I encourage people to understand that we have a wine country. This is the Guglielmo wine country, Santa Clara Valley.
Right.
So, and each winery has its own personality, its own story. You have old ones, new ones.
Yeah.
They're mostly, operated by family. So you get to meet them and get to, know them and their wine. So we get a tremendous amount of awards coming out of this region. So it's kind of showcase that we're doing a good job down here. Just come down and discover it.
Please do. You will be, I think, very impressed. And also, I think the wines coming out of the region too are a very good value for the quality.
I'll drink to that.
Well, Gene Guglielmo, thank you again. Cheers to you, and sip, sip, hooray.
Well, thank you for making me part of this. I'm calling you guys the M&Ms. You don't mind that?
No, that's a first.
That is a first. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So, well, from the M&Ms and Gene Guglielmo, everybody, sip, sip, hooray. Come see us in March 25th in Santa Clara Valley at Guglielmo, and we can all toast together.
Indeed. All right. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Well, Mary Orland, what a fun conversation with a truly good guy. You can just hear it in him. Everything about Gene Guglielmo says authentic, kind, and down to earth. And I love that.
It's his livelihood. It's in his blood. And you can really sense that, which is fantastic. So for y'all listening, you can come meet Gene too. Come meet him and come meet us. March 25th for the Santa Clara Valley Wine Auction. It's being put on by the Wines of Santa Clara and the Morgan Hill Community Fund. You can come support the region. You can come support the good work that the foundation is doing. And you can really experience this gracious, old world hospitality that the Guglielmo family is famous for. And you can try many of the wonderful wines of the region. If you don't know the wines, you're missing out. And this is a great opportunity for you to learn about them.
Absolutely. We're excited to be involved with it. And I love the fact that all of the proceeds are going back to nonprofits to support people who need the help and more in the community of Morgan Hill and beyond. So if you can do your part, join us down there. You'll get to meet Gene, as we said, and other great wine producers and it'll be a ton of fun. And we would love to have a face-to-face hello with you as well. We are Sip Sip Hooray, the podcast. You can find us on social media on Instagram and Facebook, as well as Twitter. We're Sip Sip Hooray Podcast 1 on Twitter. And our website is sipsiphoooraypodcast.com.
And if you've enjoyed this, we encourage you to listen to some of our other episodes. They're all on our website. And we also encourage you to rate us, to leave a review wherever you're listening to your podcast. It just helps spread the word about what we're doing, and we'd really appreciate that. But we just really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. We hope that you continue to listen to us. And again, thank you so much.
All right, Mary Orlin, until next time, cheers to you and sip, sip, hooray.
Sip, sip, hooray.